Welcome everyone to another CTC software webinar. My name is Chris Bircher, Director of Technical Services here at CTC, and today we are going to go over all of the new features for the BIM Suites that have come out recently in 24.2, and we'll do a quick little review on some of the features that have also come out within the last, year, basically. And just to make sure everybody knows what's going on and everybody's up to speed and are aware of some of the features that have been brought to light in case you haven't updated recently. But before we begin, I want to encourage everyone to ask questions using the questions panel. I will answer them as we go or make time at the end for any remaining questions that I missed. And this is being recorded and will be available on our YouTube channel. So you will be able to review this at your leisure in a couple of days. All right. So for the BIM Suites, we've been hard at work trying to make our tools as good as they possibly can be. And our developers have been, grinding away, doing all the little things that we ask them to do, and all of these features and enhancements are in large part based on feedback and comments made by you, our customers, and we appreciate that and we love that, and that's how our tools get better. Your feedback. Literally 99% of the stuff in our tools is because of customer feedback, and so we wouldn't be where we are with our tools without that input. So please keep submitting your feedback. So today I'm going to highlight a handful of the ones that you guys have that have been requested over the years, and kind of show you everything that we've added. So today we're going to review everything that we've added, just kind of give you an idea of how much has been done, and I'm going to hand pick a few things specifically. We're going to talk about our new installers. We're going to review a couple of the new app and model dashboard. We're going to show you a little bit about our BIM 360 or Autodesk Construction Cloud connection that we've established, and a couple other things that I want to talk about. I think View Creator and Sheet Assistant I want to point out as well, because those have had significant changes or new apps within the last few months here. So in the last 9 months, basically, we've added over 100 features and enhancements to the BIM Suites as a whole. And the BIM Suites, in this case, I'm talking about BIM Project Suite, BIM Manager Suite, BIM Batch Suite, and BIM Data Suite. Just within those four, we've added over 100 features and fixes to this. Okay, so we've, it doesn't look like anything on the surface much has changed, but a lot has changed and things have improved. So we've been very busy, and that's just, in the last, 6 to 9 months. So there's been a lot. And, in that list, I can hand pick a few for you. Here's the spreadsheet for it. But basically, we've got the new installers, and, obviously we got the simple stuff with the updates to 2024, but we added a whole bunch of other features, enabled cutting and views for family processor. There's some additional MEP categories that were added, and we made enhancements to the family preview manager and how it captures image screenshots. We've got 2 times we've added the ACC services to our plotter exporter. I copied that, unfortunately. Schedule Excel can now source things off of OneDrive or BIM 360 docs, or I'm sorry, not docs, desktop connector is what they call it. But OneDrive, Google Drive, Dropbox, that sort of thing. We added a feature for view templates in Schedule Excel. And so, View Creator got an overhaul and facelift. So View Creator on its own has had a lot of love done in the last year. So I will be able to point that out to you as well. So, but you can see we've been busy. We've done a lot. Now, for today, we're going to talk about specifically, show you how to connect and how to set up your BIM 360 to work with some of your apps, specifically Plotter Exporter, Family Loader, and Import Link Manager are the three that directly tie in to the BIM 360 hub. Show you how View Creator's facelift, the model dashboard, which is also a brand new tool, and a little bit more about the unified installers, because that was a big change at the beginning of the year that threw some people for a loop. So I just want to make sure everybody understands where we're at today and how things work. But I don't like PowerPoints, in case you haven't noticed yet if you watch some of the previous ones. So I'm just going to show you stuff. I like that best. Now, one of the first things we did this year was we did the unified installer, okay? And we've made some tweaks and adjustments to that since we released it back earlier this year, and to the point now where you as the end user have a decision that you need to make as to how you want to make your tools available to your users or to yourself, and how to set that up. So now we have two different installers available. We have the single user installer and we have the multi-user installer, and that's true for all of our products. And what this means is the single user installer installs all of the add-ins and the plugins for our CTC products behind the user profile, and making it so that that particular user on that machine, whoever installs it, is the only one that has access to those tools, right? Great for, it's just you, no one else uses your machine, and you are free to install kind of what you need, or you don't have install privileges typically, so you can't write to program files or program data, but you've been given the green light to install the product on your machine. You can install this without admin privileges because everything's going to your user profile. So very, very nice and very convenient for those that need that method. The multi-user installer is geared towards large deployments and letting IT configure installation packages so that they can be deployed across your office. Whether you make it available in a program like Software Center or PDQ or something along those lines, and you need to run it with elevated permissions to get the product installed. So that's the difference between the two installers. And hopefully that clears a few things up for some of you. And now when it comes time to running your updates, you know which one you're looking for. And if you have additional questions, please just reach out. We'll be happy to explain and walk you through the process. And then within the unified installers, specifically the BIM suites, you're getting Project Suite, Manager Suite, Batch Suite, Data Suite. And by Data Suite, it's part of Data Suite. You get the snapshot tool and you get the project activity logger. The services that run on the admin side or that run on the server and tie things into SQL and other various databases, that all happens on the admin side. So there's a separate installer for that. Casework configurator and the Superdoor configurator. So all of these now are included within the BIM Suites installer. And so by default, if you did nothing and you just ran it, you would get all of this. You would see everything in your ribbon. You'd have a CTC productivity tab, and you would have a CTC management tab, just like I do right here. So, and I got Batch Suite, Project Suite, Casework, Superdoor. And on my management tab, I have Data Suite and Manager Suite. If there are tools here that you don't want anymore, either you've done the trial and you're not interested, or whatever the case may be, you can turn those off. And you do that either through the installer. Silent installs give you the opportunity to run some switches in there to deselect certain apps. If you run it manually, you get some checkboxes to control what you want to install or not install. If it's already been installed and you decided you don't want them anymore, you can open up Control Panel and go through the change option here, which will give you the opportunity to take a few steps through here. Of course, I've got Revit open, but at this point, you'd be able to go ahead and select which tool you wanted to remove. So if you didn't want SuperDoor and Data Suite because you weren't using them anymore or had no use for them, you can take them off. So there's some flexibility there. There's a couple of different ways to go about doing it. And there. So that's how the unified installers are working out nowadays. The next thing I want to talk about today is the BIM 360 hookup. Recently, I should pull my internet back up again. So we added, and some of you already know this actually, we added the ability to communicate with BIM 360 from Revit within a handful of our apps. Plotter, Exporter, Family Loader, and Import Link Manager have a direct connection. And if you've worked with us previously on this to get it set up, or you've seen a previous webinar video, you know that you had to come and build a custom integration for that. And you had to reach out to your partners and to us ultimately to help set that up. You no longer have to do that. You can go to the apps page directly and scroll down about a third of the way until you find our CTC software connector. And you can select that and add that directly into your BIM 360 site. You'll be prompted to allow a few connection pieces and away you go. And then you'll have access to it. It's that simple now. And mine's already done. I've already got mine connected. It's very active. And once it's active and you've set that up, you come back to Revit and you can run the connection immediately. If I go back to my CTC tab, Productivity tab, and go to Plotter and Exporter, I can show you what I mean. On this page, this is where all the setup happens, and really where the connections established for your ACC/BIM 360 sites is all through the scheduler. And once it's done loading up my configuration here, I'll show you what's going on. So within the scheduler, when you're setting it up, you load up your settings file, and then once that's been added, you will get the Add BIM 360 option. When you click on that, you'll be prompted to log in quickly. Looks like this. And you just log in with your normal Autodesk account like you would if you were trying to get into the portal. Click it, sign in, you allow this, and that's it. And now we're done. And then back from within Revit, I instantly have access to all of my projects. And I can select from my hub, pick the projects that I want to work on, and away we go. There it is. There's my project. And now I can continue on with the scheduled task and let it start going and repeat itself. So it's once you've got that connection established, which is now a ton easier, you still have access to the tools and now your project. So not only does Plotter Exporter have it, but Family Loader does as well from the BIM Batch suite. And that is just when you're adding your project to load your families into, you get an option now to add projects from BIM 360, which is an option you didn't have before. And if I hadn't already signed in, I would be prompted to sign in again, but I get the same list of projects as I did before. So, and thankfully I don't have to sign in again. Once you're done, which is great. And now I can pick the project, I can pick the families, and run through the motions of loading the content that I want into my projects. And you can have multiples. You can have some, oops, that's not the settings I wanted, but you can have some from BIM 360, you can have some from the server, and load all your families into whatever projects that you want. Last but not least what is the import link manager from the BIM Manager Suite. If you have just recently loaded up your projects into the ACC BIM 360 hubs, and you now need to remap some of those links because it used to be stored locally, you can do that with Import Link Manager now, and pick and choose the appropriate Revit links and make sure that those are tied together properly. And it will report as such. So either looking at the file name, you can tell it's cloud-based, or it'll tell you right here in the path that it's hosted on the cloud, and the other ones are not. So just as simple as selecting the file or files and using the swap reload from BIM 360 ACC options here in the dropdown. It's another add to this. And again, once you've signed in, you've signed in. So you don't have to remember. And I can grab my mechanical model here since that's what I picked, hit OK, and away we go. So it's a pretty straightforward process, thankfully, and gets us the ability to do a few things that we couldn't do prior to this. And you guys have been asking for a long time for us to get BIM 360 going and get our tools to have access. Well, now we've listened and we finally were able to get that out the door, and now you guys can put it to use. All you need is the update. Now, one of the new tools that we have, brand new, just came out. This is the Model Dashboard tool, which is part of the CTC BIM Project Suite. But before I talk about that, there's one question that just came in that I do want to answer, and it's, do these tools also work in ACC or just BIM 360? They work in both. Good question. Ultimately, at the end of the day, and when you go to adding this connection, when you go to the App Store for your BIM 360 or ACC hubs, it's ultimately the same list of apps, and it will work in both. And you can't tell from looking at the list of projects from my family loader or Import Link Manager or anything like that, but I can point them out to you. These office building files here are from my traditional BIM 360 hub. The samples that I've built down here and the audited sample that we loaded up, that's all from the ACC or the Unified Projects location. So you'll have access to both. Yeah. So yeah. Now back to Model Dashboard. So this is a brand new tool, and this is playing into the data and analytics driven requests that we've been getting from you guys over the years. And we've done things like Data Suite and Project Activity Logger within Hive. And we've been giving more access and more access and more data and more data. But now the Model Dashboard is another creation down this path that puts the data in your user's face and anyone's face that's in Revit. And the whole point of this is to allow people who are in Revit every single day and in multiple projects, or even just the same project, to see data right out of the gate. And so what it allows you to do is, initiate the utility and load a title block into your project, right? So I've already got one in here. And so it just loads it into your project, and that's all this button actually does. And once the title block is in your project, the magic begins to happen. Let me come down here to, I guess I didn't save it. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to go to my, oh, I did. Look at that. Okay. On my title sheet, I have, and I wouldn't normally put this on a title sheet. It should be on my Save Here view, but it needs to be a sheet. This family that we provide is a title block. And what it's doing is it has linked up a whole bucket load of properties based off of like common health check type items that you would find in your project. So how many CAD imports and links do you have? How many unused views? How many unplaced families? How many redundant or not enclosed rooms? Total family count, total file size, how long it takes to save, how long it takes to open, how many warnings are in the project, that kind of thing. And when you sync to, right now it's all zeros. That's because I haven't saved yet. So as soon as I sync to Central, I'm going to get some data. And it's going to start to show me information about my project that we would always have inside of Hive with Project Activity Logger, or in our SQL database in Power BI with BIM Data Suite. I get it now right here in my face and in my user's face. So now they'll see this and they'll see that my warning count is creeping up, or that I've got a bunch of in-place families or a bunch of unplaced rooms, right? Like they'll start to see these dials move around and give you an idea of, or give them an idea of what might be going wrong in their projects. And I think, and we feel that if you put this in the end user's face, they'll start to believe that there's things in the model that shouldn't be there, and it might start to bother them if they have a whole bunch of dials that are cracked, right? I've got too many in-place families, or my warning count is through the roof. We can present this in a way that is suitable to our organizations and include data points that are valuable to you guys, and work with it and make this available to our teams so that they can see what's going on. And it's just a title block. The license only pulls when a sync to Central happens. So the data, there's always going to be a license, well, usually going to be a license available unless everybody's saving at the same time. But the data is here, and this isn't even all the data. There are other points in here that aren't being used. So if you wanted to adjust the table here and put some other information in, go for it. You certainly can. If you are really good at building content, you can put together different reporting graphs. We chose kind of that speed dial, right? Put something else, do whatever you want. So yeah, this is brand new. It's in the BIM Project Suite. We're really excited about it. I am really excited about it. So I thought I'd share that with you guys again. And you'll probably hear us talking about it a lot because it's a lot of fun for us. And since I'm in BIM Project Suite, I want to point out View Creator as well. View Creator has been around. We've been using it forever. However, we had a lot of feedback and a lot of features that needed to get added, and a lot of things that people wanted it to do that it just couldn't do. So we did all of that. In this list that I showed you earlier, we have this many features added just recently. So what is that? That's a 25, 30 of them that we did just for View Creator alone. So you can see that there was some things that were brought to our attention that made it hard to use. So we addressed those. Things like working with dependent views, and when doing your view creation, being able to specify area plans or structural plans and actually building those out properly. And if you choose area plans, you get the rentable or gross building or whatever other area plan type you've built in your project. Maybe you use them for code plans. You can use this tool now to build those and create that stuff. And maybe your structural plan. Well, now it pulls that view template type or that view type in as well. In addition to that, we adjusted a little bit about how to orient the naming conventions here. Before, you did it all down here, right? And you just kind of picked and choose which order it was in. These boxes were stagnant. Well, now when you change these drop downs, so like maybe I want to name it by view template first, and then by or maybe we'll do by phase first. If I switch this to phase and view template swap with each other. And then maybe I want to do view template, then by level, then by scope box. Or maybe we just put level at the end, right? So, and that's your setup now. And that's also how it's going to be labeled. And that's how the views are going to get created in your projects. So it's a little bit easier to massage this a little bit, and then it lines up a little bit better, making it easier to understand what the end output's going to be. So if I switch this back to level and template, phase, and scope box, which is what I had before, I think. And then, you know, and then the process at the end of the day still works the same as it did before. You pick what levels you want to work with. You pick the views that you, or the view templates that need to be made that goes along with it. What phases? Do you want abbreviations or not? And then if you're doing dependent views, you can build scope boxes or attach scope boxes with these. So if I'm doing my overall plans, I can attach those to those, or my building overall. So again, we got options. You click add, it builds them all. Click create, now they're in my model. Right, so now we're building, and I just did them all as structural plans because I forgot to change that back. So now I'm going to get, you know, 100 structural plans for all these conditions that I picked in my view templates. One of the other pieces here that got a big change was the dependent views area. And in here, and by what I mean by that is there were feedback in here that when you wanted to specify various entities here, it was cumbersome, right? Checking all, using the check all option that was here did everything in that row, when maybe you wanted it to do all of these views and for just area A, for example. Well, now what you can do is simply press and drag on the boxes that you want to have checked or unchecked, and it's going to do that. You don't even, there's no, notice the check all buttons are gone. So for my, if I wanted dependent views here for all of these, oh, where are they? My master floor plans here, I can just go over and straight down, and it's going to check all those boxes for me. For my overall views, wherever those may be, I could just grab those, and now I'm going to have those attached to those scope boxes. So you really get a whole bunch of flexibility in, you know, basically it's a lot easier to build all these out when you don't have to individually check every single box. It's just going to do it. The filter is a little better by template or by the family type or the view type that you're working with. You have some searchability for controlling what the view, you know, to filter down by name if you need to. But really this selectability workflow has really changed in this area quite a bit, and it makes it a lot easier to set these up, especially on a large project where you've got hundreds of views and, you know, a half a dozen areas that you need to work with, or half a dozen scope boxes. So that was one area that got a big facelift as well. And then the sheets and title blocks, looking for where the sheets and what title block it is. And if you've got multiple title blocks, you can start picking and choosing which title block's going where, or which sheet uses which title block. And it becomes a little bit easier to manage. Now, I haven't run this in a while, apparently, so it's taken a bit to load up. But as you can see, View Creator has gotten a lot of new features, and we spent a lot of time putting them together because it needed some help, and we just wanted to get them all done at once. And I'll give you a little insight here. The batch add sheets workflow is also going to get a facelift here in the next update or two. So that process, while it being good and enabling you to, you know, quickly create a bunch of new sheets, is going to get even better. So I just wanted to throw that out there. let you know to be on the lookout for a new feature regarding the sheet creation process within View Creator. So, all right. Now, I've got one more thing I wanted to point out today, and that is with Sheet Assistant. This is also a relatively new tool of ours within the last year, I'll say, and I just want to make sure that people have seen this and know that it's here. In case you're still using an older version of 23 dot something, now you know. But Sheet Assistant is the tool that we built to help you build out sheets, put the views on the sheets, and make sure that the views are consistently placed when you turn the page. You know, that's always been a big thing that we've all worked on. If you've ever put a set of sheets together, getting the views placed in a consistent location is always something that takes more energy and more effort than it really ever should. Well, now with this particular tool, Sheet Assistant, it doesn't need to take that much time anymore. You can, allowing us to spend more time on important things like the project itself and making sure that other things are modeled and notes are picked up and the details are placed properly. And so the way it works is you set up a sheet, right? And that can be in any project, right? You want to get a sheet set up that you are happy with. So for example, I like using B for this. You pick 201B, let's say, and I'm just for the sake of having something in here, I'm going to change the scale a little bit just so that the whole thing fits. There we go. And I'm going to put it right there. Pull that over there. And then I'm going to grab my schedule and we'll do, I'll just do my, yep, that's the one. We'll do my door schedule. And I'm going to put that here. And then I've got another one. Well, no, we'll just call it good at that. I got a floor plan, I got my door schedule, okay? Now, when it comes to these other views and sheets, you know, depending on who's working on the project with you and how familiar they are with the standards, things may end up not matching, right? Views are flipped, alignments are not in the same place, whatever the case may be. Various things can happen on projects, right? Like, well, they just missed, or the title block changed, so now the views aren't in the right spot. I mean, I could go on why things aren't looking the way they're supposed to look. Okay. So you set one sheet up, and you can do that in your template / starter project, and now you use that as your, like in this case, my floor plans template file or configuration file. Oop. There we go. In this case, I believe it was B, 201B. Get rid of that. So 201B, okay, I need to slow down. I'm clicking too fast. But effectively, what 201B becomes is my template, right? So I've got my floor plan, I've got my schedule. And if I had general notes or a legend, we can put that on here as well. Maybe a couple of plan details if necessary. But you put it on, with it all laid out, you pick how you want your views to align with each other on other sheets. Well, that's bottom left, bottom right, top left, top right, center, center, center left, center right. I mean, you get to choose how you want that to set up. And that works for this floor plan type view. Then you do the same thing with the other view, in this case, my schedule. And I'll say top right, or maybe I'll do top left instead of bottom left. So now my schedules are going to line up using top left. My plans are going to line up using bottom left. And when I apply this to other views in my project, they are also going to line up accordingly. Now, if this becomes the gold standard for your office and all projects need to follow this format, well, then you get to save this and make it a standard template for plan sheets or whatever you want to call it. And you put that in your folder on the network somewhere where everyone has access to it. And I actually apparently don't have one saved yet, so I'm going to make one. Save it there. And now I can use this on, I can load this configuration into any other Revit project. As long as it's got sheets and they need to line up, I can use it just by coming here and clicking load configuration. But since I set it up here, I don't need to do that. I can just continue on with the two views that I have and start to pick the plans or the sheets that need to be lined up. So I did 201B, so I don't need that one. But maybe 202 and 203. And did I do 204? I did not. But that's okay. Even if I didn't do, even if they don't have the same number of views across the board, even if one of the two views matches, it can still work and it can still make the change. But then you select what you want, you hit select all so it knows we're working with everything here, and you click apply. And this will take my alignment configuration here that I've picked for these two sheets and apply it to these other 5, 6 sheets. And it does it. That's doing it right now. And we're a happy camper. In addition to alignments, though, we can also use it to create new sheets and apply views to those sheets. So if I needed to make new ones, you click new and you start filling it out based off the title block that you want and the fields that you want to include. Name, number, or any other parameter that you've added to your project. So if you've got a discipline order or a sheet sort or a sheet sorting order type of parameter, you can use that. You can fill it in with 1-general, 2-architectural, 3-structural, 4-interiors, 4, 5, blah, blah, blah. You just keep on going. Set it up however you want, and you start to fill it out as you need to. One thing I would personally do, and this is another area that's about to get a facelift as well, because it needs to match. We're going to make all of our sheet creation methods consistent. So that's going to change here in a minute too. But it can create them and build a bunch of sheets like you would get down here for all my details. And then I have the ability to load up a different configuration and match those up. So in this case, I grabbed another floor plan one. So I'm actually going to change this. And instead of doing a floor plan, I'm going to jump back up here real quick. And we're going to grab this sheet here. So I have the ability to put in my own floor plan here. Like say level, what did I grab? Main floor, level 1. And for the schedule, what schedule do I want to put in here? Do I want to skip it or put something else in? And you can skip them. You can put in another view, another schedule. It really doesn't matter what you put in. And let's say, well, I'll just grab my furniture schedule in this case. And now it's that I've got these in here, it's going to add these views to those sheets and align them up accordingly. So you have the ability to create new, modify existing, and align everything together so that everything falls consistently in the same place, so that when you do your page turn, the views are lining up. Everything's looking good. And you don't have to worry about views not being on the right spot on the sheet. Now, this one was already there, and I screwed that up. But I put my schedule in, it did the top right piece. I put the view in, it did the bottom left. It did exactly what I told it to do. And, you know, it's all based off the extent of the view. So if your scope boxes are utilized properly and they're consistently lined up with each other, which they should be because it's a scope box, you're going to be in great shape. If your schedules are lined up properly, I did top left, so I should have done top right, and I would have been in a better place. Yeah. So a couple other things I want to point out real quick, and then I'll open it up to any additional questions that we have. Are on our website, you'll have access to all of our different products. Now, again, everything's built into the unified installers, but we still have, everything's still its own piece. It's still its own suite. So batch suite, project suite, manager suite, they're still their own product. We just save you some time on the setup part if you've got multiple products. When you get access to the trial or to when you need to go to the download, you will be brought to the download page where you need to choose which one you want, and then you will get everything. And then secondly, on our YouTube channel, we've talked about all of this stuff previously, so we do have existing videos up on our YouTube channel for highlighting the individual pieces that I've already covered today. So we've got a video on our BIM 360 support that you guys should watch, which explains how those features work in greater detail that I showed you earlier for plotter, exporter, and family loader and import link manager. We also have videos about the unified installers. There will be more to come on those since we've made some changes, but there are some videos up there on that as well. Model Dashboard has a video, and Sheet Assistant's got a couple of videos and some workflow stuff there as well. So I recommend coming and checking this out and looking up either a playlist about the individual app itself, Model Dashboard right here, or here's the BIM 360 one as well, or just searching for the app name itself, and you'll find exactly what you're looking for. And before I go, the last thing I want to mention is, again, these features would never have been added without the feedback from you guys. So we live off that. So we thank you so much for this feedback, and we want more. So some of you may end up getting some emails from us. We are sending out some questionnaires looking for more feedback on what you guys are looking for in the tools, what type of stuff you're looking for. So please, if you get that email or you see that email, fill out the form. We want to know. We want to know. We want to make the tools work for you. So thank you again. If you do have questions on anything that we talked about today, or if you submitted a feature request and you didn't hear me talk about it and you want to know if it's available, let us know, ask. You can email us at info@ctcsoftware.com, and one of us will get back to you and let you know what's going on. And if you have a feature request, same thing, send it to info, and we will add it to our queue and get it going. Finally, I want to say thank you all for joining today. It's been a pleasure. I will let you go and look forward to seeing you guys next week, the next webinar.